Hello, it's Melinda from Alexis and Melinda's Art Space. Got another empties video today. I know it's been a long time. I really haven't been emptying stuff. So this, if you haven't caught my empties videos before or you don't know what it's all about, basically when I empty a product, I pop it into this box, and when I've got an overload box full like I have, I go through them and give them a bit of a product review and to let you know how I used them. So let's start with my favourite. So this is my absolute favourite Liquitex Matte Gel Medium, and it goes so quickly, it's not funny. As you can see, I think I've scraped out the jar. I love it for collaging in and gluing things in my art journal and sealing things. The only problem in Australia, it's quite expensive, so I only ever get it when it's on sale. I do have a bit of a stockpile at the moment. I used to grab it when Lincraft had their 40% off, but Lincraft aren't really stocking it anymore. I see Spotlight have started to stock it, so I'll have to wait until we get one of their spend $100, get $40 off voucher or 40% off voucher or something. It's like $25 normal price, and there's no way I'd pay that. Bit of a price snob, but I do love Liquitex Matte Gel Medium, or any of the Liquitex products. They're like the premium products for art journaling. So these are a couple of really old products that I had. These would be, well, they were pre-Alexis, and she's like 11, and I'd go back probably about 5 years before that. It could be 15 years old. Basically, Derivian Matisse I don't see around a lot. You do see it at like Riot Art and Craft, and that may have been where I got it. Basically, this is gel medium. This is gloss finish, which I really didn't like, and it was a thick viscosity. The thing I did like about it was the thickness. It was great for attaching like cardstock and heavier weighted papers to your art journal, and it was great for adding like strings and feathers and any lumpy stuff. So unfortunately, the last little bit of it did dry up. It's the only problem I have with these big tubes or big containers, is when they get down, and I'm going to show you a couple of those in a minute, when they get down to the last little bit, they tend to dry out. It's the advantage of tube products. I know you've got to squeeze the tube product out, but then you can squeeze most of the air out and it stops product from going bad. This one is a bit of a waste, and I don't like wasting things. I'm dreadful like that. So unfortunately, this is impasto medium, or basically another word for texture paste. You can mix it with paint and it makes the paint thicker, or you can mix it with, just use it as texture paste, like to scrape across your projects. And unfortunately, that's half a jar that I've wasted. Unfortunately, these lids aren't a lot airtight. Well, I suppose it has lasted about 15 years, but I find once you sort of take half the product out, there's a lot of air in there when you store it, and the air dries things out, unfortunately. But it was a good product. I'd probably buy them again. If this one come in a matte, I would prefer it, because I do not like glossy things, but I did like the thickness of it. I will have to keep an eye out for a similar product if Riot ever put them on sale. Not sure of the current prices of these. I do like them because they're square. They sit on my shelf a bit better. Then we have Montmartre Black Gesso. These ones take me a while to use up because they are massive. They are 500 ml, so half a litre. Montmartre is like a student grade paint and canvas and sketchbook and watercolour paper supply. They have a bunch of stuff, and you find them mostly in like your $2 and cheapy shops, although things aren't $2. I think these range about $10 to $15 depending on what store you get them from. So again, there's a little bit left in the jar. It did dry out on me. You don't necessarily need to have black gesso in your stash. You can certainly just have white gesso and tint it any colour you like. But I decided to try it. It's great. It's a very black gesso, so it covers very well. That's what I liked about it. And the price, it was about $15 for half a litre, which is an awesome price for gesso. I think it's about $15 now. I may pay just over $10 for this. Doesn't have a price on it. Next, another jarry system, the Illusions paints. I have a love-hate relationship with these. Now, they are several years old. Just trying to work out how many years old. Oxides, distress inks. So I've got them in to do with my craft shows, and I'm just trying to work out how many craft shows I've had them. So last year I did oxides, the year before I did oxides. I think I had them the year before that, so they'd be at least 3 years old. I love the paint. The paint is awesome, but the only problem is now, I suppose if you use them up and use them as your only paint source, they're great, but I've got other paints I use, and I've sort of gone out of love with them at the moment because they're all drying up. I tried to rejuvenate the black and it's all blobby, and again the problem is when you get down to half a jar, there's air in there when you seal it up and it tends to dry it out. I'm going to make a video on see if I can resurrect my other ones. Might try some other mediums. I did try water in this and it went all chunky and it just didn't work. I've got some, these are the 2 that are going in the bin, but I've got probably about 6, 7 other colours that I want to see if I can use up with some gel printing, and also, so use up with gel printing and see if I can rejuvenate them and then use them up. So this one's totally gone. They were used at my shows as well, so we did use a lot of them up. So they're sort of worth the money, but I probably would only suggest them if you've only got this paint to use and you'll use it fairly quickly, because probably keeping them 3 years is not ideal, but I did notice they dried out probably after 12 months. They started to go a bit dry and a bit blobby. What else is in my box? Oh, just standard glue sticks. How many have we got this time? 4. So I'm not really a glue a fan of any particular glue stick. Price basically. Bosch stick, I'm not sure where they come from. Sort of like that's a name brand. Elmer's, the only problem with that is it was really, really sticky and it got like a bit pilly on your hands. This one's an Audi one, so whatever glue sticks work. When I am using in my art journal, I often use those. What else have we got in here? Another paint. Now this one is old. This one is from my shop days. So I closed my shop when Alexis was 1, so she's now 11. So it's at least 10 years old plus a little bit more. So this one's all dried up, unfortunately. This company doesn't even exist anymore. Making Memories. It's a pearl glaze. So again, this type of bottle dried out, but I suppose I can't complain. It was 10 years old and it sort of only dried out, or I found it dried out in the last 6 months, so I don't know how long it's been dried out. But the pearl glaze was nice. You can mix it with paints and then make them pearly, or you could just put it over the top. What else have we got? Double-sided tape. I have been showing through this a lot lately, making some embellishments, and what else was I doing? So this, I think, was Portercraft tape. It was really cheap tape. This is Expressit tape, or it could have been Bella double-sided tape. I use a lot of double-sided tape in my scrapbooking and in my art journaling. Again, I don't mind as long as it's acid-free. If it's cheap or expensive, usually if it's cheap, I use a little bit more. These rolls. I went a bit crazy in December, January on my sewing machine. Sewing on paper. I will leave a link to my Zibbet store below because I do have a few of my handmade items, and it's time to get the sewing machine out and have another play because I miss my sewing machine. It's sitting down there on the floor and it hasn't had a love for a while. I tend to sew more on paper, so these were some threads that I went through. These ones were from, I think, Kmart, and they had a bunch on them, but I was a bit disappointed with these ones. I probably didn't check how many meters are on it. I don't think it actually says on it. It says 100% polyester. Did it actually say the meterage on it? But it's quite deceiving because look, this one was full of, I think these are about the same price from Lincraft, because that's my closest store to get threads from when I've run out. But isn't that very deceiving? And once I used up like this roll and then this one, it was like, well, this one had twice as much on it. But I don't think they actually have a meterage on them. Now, I could be wrong. Oh, yeah, that one says 200 meters. What's this one say? Oh, 100 meters. Okay, so it does say in really fine print how much is on them. So I should pay attention to that when I buy threads. Now I just buy, I've bought some cheaper ones to use in my machine, just for sewing on paper. I use the more expensive ones when I'm doing thread. So the last thing in my box was some gel pens from Daiso. Don't waste your $2.80. These did not work at all. I have a love-hate, mainly I only got it for the white, but the other colours would have been cool. I have a love-hate relationship with white gel pens. I love to use them, but they hate me. They don't work. They dry out. They stuff up. This one I didn't work. I used them a little on some magazines, and then after sort of one sitting they sort of decided to run out. You can see there's lots of ink in there still, but I'd be interesting to know if there's a way to get them to work again, because obviously at the moment it doesn't want to work at all, which is a bit of a pain. But yeah, if you see these in die sale, I'd probably keep walking. I wouldn't grab those. So that's about all my empties for the last, I don't know, probably 6 months. I'll have to start another box. This box was getting quite full, so I decided to do this video. I don't do these videos very often. Basically, when my box is full, and I don't put things like stickers and paper pads and stuff in here. It's more art materials or glues to give you an idea, and also a sort of review on how they went. Probably wouldn't buy the Elmo's Extreme again. It was great and it stuck really well, but I found it really tacky if I got it on my fingers, and I really hate that. These ones from Aldi worked really well, and I believe these ones might be from the Reject Shop, Boss Stick. Not sure where they come from. So thank you for watching. Let me know, have you used any of these mediums? Do you like them? Do you don't? I know there's a love-hate relationship with Montmark Gesso on YouTube. Some of us Aussies love it, some of us hate it. I don't mind it. It's not the one I prefer, but it's cheap and it works. Prefer the Aldi one a bit better actually, and it's about the same cost, I think, because I think you get about 100 mils for, it might be 200 mils. No, it's about that size jar, so it might be 200 mils for $3. And I love my Liquitex Matte Gel Medium. I would love to have an endless supply of this. I'd be so happy, but my bank account would not be happy with me. So I use a whole lot of different stuff. So thank you for watching, and I will catch up with you again in a few months' time when my Empties box is filled up again. Bye for now.